digital mixer. So it means I've got 8 outputs going into the desk, so I can separate all like my basses, breaks, pads, all that sort of thing. So this is just a breaks track, and this will just be coming through channel 1. What I've done is I've already bounced battery down into an audio file, because that way I find it easier to do real-time effects on the audio file. You can reverse it, you can do what you want with it, get a nice sound out of it that way. The next key part for me in my head for dubstep has got to be the bass. Ben came in and he brought loads of guitars with him, and we recorded down like different guitars, like all doing the same kind of motif, and I complemented it with working on a sub bass that I did in the A1, which is like a native synth for Nuendo, and that means you get this like kind of you know, that kind of LFO sub sound. Next, what have we got? The guitar. So that's Ben's recorded bit, and I've also got a bit where I've taken the same bit, chopped it up and affected it. I mean, this is a really simple tune. I mean, a lot of dubstep tunes are. They're like only like 2 or 3 elements. One thing I'm keen on, man, is getting like live sounds in there, stuff you've recorded, because then the tune is really your own, you know, you've made stuff from scratch. I've got one track in here which is just clapping. It just adds to the track. And so all the way through the tune I'm adding little sections. So you've got like the breaks here, and then those with the pad sounds, and then this is the bass, but you can see it's got like this blue line underneath, which is basically me controlling the filter that the bass is going through. So it's getting high pass at the moment, so it's like doesn't sound as loud, and the bass just builds up and builds up until the drop, which comes in there. So you're bringing in basses. Like here's obviously the breakdown because there's no beats, and you've got a different beat pattern, then you've got extra stuff coming in, and it changes up, and then you've got the drop of that bit as well. Mastered this one down already, so that's what this big track on the top is. So this sounds a lot more fuller than the tune would in Nuendo alone.
You can be really pernickety about sounds and what you're doing in the studio and stuff, but like I kind of like that gritty, nasty kind of sounds, and a bit sort of, you know, a bit off and a bit distorted and not quite right sounds. Do you know what I mean? I don't really want them to be bang on, right on the money all the time. It's not really about that for me.
When it comes to producing dubstep, the quality of the sound is really important. You know, there's a kind of an ethic of good quality production in dubstep. I think that the favourite medium tends to be vinyl. Just like in the drum and bass scene, there's a kind of an air of competitiveness when it comes to getting the latest tunes first. Having tunes on dub plates is part of that. I think that vinyl kind of is like a good sort of leveller for all the sound, because you can't really be too extreme and harsh on vinyl without it sounding really terrible. So when you're kind of mastering for vinyl, you have to be a lot more careful about what you do.
I've been quite excited by it the last year or so. It just seems like a really open style, and whereas a lot of other styles like drum and bass and breaks, for instance, have seemed to got very formulaic. People just trying to do big tunes, big build-ups, and got really sort of cheesy and trancey, and I'm really not into that. I mean, you know, the deeper, darker sort of sound, that's what I'm about, really.
When I go home, I just make whatever I want to make. And it normally turns out that I make dubstep. Rather, you know, smoke a spliff, make some dub. That's what you do, isn't it, really? Why would you do anything else? You're crazy.
As for me, Headhunter, although I've got Ascension with Tech Itch, the label, I also do a hench thing. I also am signed to another label called Temper.
Temper was the first kind of label really for it. It kind of took Two Step Garage and they just kind of, you know, made it an instrumental listening experience. That's Tectonic label that I run. I started that one last year. Big release from last September was Loafer and Scream, 28 grams. It's kind of, you know, really big tune. That's one of the best sellers on there. And I've been pushing up and coming artists as well, like Random Trio. So yeah, I mean, it's an outlet for putting out some of the productions that I'm really into.
Dubstep is one of the first scenes that has based a lot of its conception around the net itself. Like everyone finds out about all the parties online. You know, everyone gets all their reviews online. I think people like Martin Blackdown and Nick Gutbreaks and all that lot are essential.
I'm generally known as Gutter on the internet. I started this vlog August 2003. Didn't have anything in mind for what it was going to be. It was just thoughts, you know, the stuff that I just think anyway. And I got into this dubstep sound, I started writing about it, and no one else was, and all the people who liked it were coming finding the blog. Got voted best blog of the year at the Dubstep Forum. Just write about the music I like. And at the moment, it's dubstep.
To get hold of that new Benga album that's coming out, New Step, you had to go to him specifically to get it. It was like a self-promoted album. So, like, you know, if it wasn't for the internet, loads of this shit couldn't happen.
In terms of certainly the international scenario, it's vital. You know, there's a lot of online mixes that go up, and a few people like myself and Black Down and a couple of others, you know, we write a bit about it, get people vibed up. So yeah, the internet's how I got into it, because I'm not in London, I'm not listening to the Pirates. Although, of course, Rinse FM is a London pirate show that streams, you know, a lot of people around the world listening to that, where you hear all the latest sounds. So yeah, vital.
With the internet forums, people worldwide are sort of getting into it, so it's only going to get bigger, I think.
Yeah, I think it isn't actually that big a thing, it just appears bigger than it is because of the huge amount of web interest it's got, because of all the blogs and the forums.
There's a really strong online community, and you've got people like Nick Gutter Breaks, which you just represent the sound. You know, you can pop on his blog literally every other day. There's an update, and it's worth reading. So after half an hour of searching around the net, you could find out as much as you wanted about grime or dubstep. So, but obviously, you've got to go to a club to really experience it.
The whole scene at the moment is very much built towards, you know, you have to go down to the dance to really kind of get into it and be in it.
You understand what it's all about. Once you're on a system, that's it, you know what we're doing.
Keep it nice and underground, you know what I mean? Like, so people appreciate it more. Because if you hear it everywhere, it just gets boring. But if you hear it now and again, it's nice, man. You know what I mean?
I think it'll just grow as it is. I mean, the thing I quite like about it at the moment is because there's no sort of hard and fast rules, and the only sort of like common denominator is the fact that there's sub, but you know, anything is thrown over the top.
Not only that, but the DJs, most of the DJs, they're playing pretty much entirely off dub plate, so it's not even tunes that you can go and buy. It gives a sense of something special when you go and hear it, you know.
It is getting bigger every month. There's a fresh thing. There's an article been written in a national mag.
I can't see it being a massive scene because of the amount of people which just won't get it in a way and will want it to be faster or more techy or whatever.
You reach that point where people start noticing it who maybe have the wrong intentions. They're thinking about making records to make money, you know, and then, you know, you start getting all the rubbish coming out, you know.
I think it's just going to keep on getting bigger. It'll be interesting to see how like the whole dubstep scene holds out when it's got some money coming into it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man, the night's alright at the moment. I think like the venue, you know, I think it's time to move to bigger places, bigger and better things. I think definitely.
I don't think it's something that's going to just explode. It's not like when Garage came onto the scene and sort of suddenly went commercial, and all of a sudden, you know, there's all these tunes in the charts and what have you.
You ain't seeing no dubstep on top of the pops or radio. Like Radio 1 Daytime, man, there ain't gonna be no like 50 Cent dubstep remixes, man.
Everything that comes out generally done for the love of it, and you know, so the quality is always high. The emphasis is still on the music rather than the bucks.
The music is built around bass lines that you can't pick up on your TV, you can't pick up on your radio, you can't pick up on your computer speakers.
It's dubstep, and that's what it's about. It's this new thing, we're all a part of it, and there's a real sense of community among like fellow producers and everything. I don't know, it's just a nice vibe.
Eccleston's a very exciting place to be at the moment. You know, the scene's really kicking off down here.
You kind of get to know DJs and producers from going to raves because it's such a small scene. Really get to know them on a one-to-one basis and stuff, and that's really good. But as it grows, obviously it's going to change and kind of, I don't know, be a bit different. I don't know really. See what happens, I guess.
Going to get producers that are coming into the scene that are inspired by dubstep, whereas we come into it, we weren't inspired by dubstep because there was no dubstep.
For me, it's always going to be underground music because unless you've got a huge system, you're not really hearing what's all there.
There's still a sort of very pure strand of dubstep running through from like the original South London people, and they're keeping sort of very true to the course. So, you know, maybe that'll be the one that really happens, and all the other sort of little parts of the scene that's got other influences will sort of spread off in different directions. Really hard to tell, man. Really hard to tell. It's very exciting though. I think that's why I'm a part of it, really.
is just my drunken opinion.
Choose to film us when we had a bit too many. That's not good.
I hope you edit lots of that because sound like a fucking Herbert.
Oh, we're gonna put all that in straight.
Please don't use that.